In the beginning, there was only stone, fire, and the need to create. With simple tools, our ancestors carved symbols into rock marks of survival, communication, and connection. As civilizations rose, art evolved, reflecting societies through monumental sculptures, beautiful paintings, and timeless architecture, each piece capturing the values, struggles, and aspirations of its era. Now, in the digital age, pixels and algorithms push the boundaries of creativity, yet this evolution is tied to an unbroken thread. From firelit caves to glowing screens, humanity's desire to express, connect, and inspire endures a timeless journey through the lens of art. The first strokes. Art in the dawn of humanity. In the beginning, approximately 40,000 BCE, long before we spoke words or wrote books, humans found a way to communicate their thoughts and experiences through art. It was not just decoration, but a deep connection to the world around them, an expression of survival, belief, and wonder. The first strokes of art were drawn on cave walls, where primitive hands used the earth's pigments to paint animals, symbols, and stories of their world. These images were more than mere pictures. They were magic, rituals, and messages left for the future. The first artwork wasn't about beauty. It was about connection to nature, to the unseen world of spirits, and to each other. Through these early drawings, humanity found its voice, and from these first strokes, the journey of art began. Carving the divine, ancient civilizations and art's purpose. As time passed and civilizations flourished, ancient Egypt is one of the world's oldest and most influential civilizations. The early dynastic period of Egypt began around 3100 BCE, and art became more than just a way of communicating. It became a sacred tool, a way to honor gods, immortalize rulers, and record the triumphs of great empires. In Egypt, colossal statues of pharaohs stood as embodiments of the gods themselves, while in Mesopotamia, detailed reliefs on stone slabs immortalized kings' victories in battle and their connections with the divine. Art was used not only to celebrate the living, but also to guide the dead into the afterlife. This sacred art was a means of transcending time, ensuring that rulers, gods, and their deeds would never be forgotten. The grandeur of these civilizations is reflected in the artistry they left behind, an art that aimed to preserve not just the visual world, but the very essence of life and death itself. In ancient Mesopotamia, which is often called the cradle of civilization, with its earliest cities, such as Uruk, forming around 3500 BCE. In the Indus Valley, art was not just for aesthetic beauty. It was a divine expression, a connection to higher powers. Massive statues, intricate carvings, and grand murals adorned temples, palaces, and tombs, each piece telling a story of divine will, human sacrifice, and eternal glory. The Classical Era, sculpting beauty and power. During the Classical Era, which began around 500 BCE, Greek and Roman artists created some of the most famous and influential works of art. This period is known for its focus on human beauty, strength, and balance. Artists aim to make sculptures look as lifelike as possible, with perfect proportions and realistic expressions. In the Classical Era, the world saw some of the most breathtaking buildings and sculptures ever created. The Greeks and Romans, who ruled much of the Mediterranean, left behind architectural wonders that still inspire us today. The Greeks, with their love for symmetry and balance, built temples dedicated to their gods, each one a marvel of engineering. The Parthenon in Athens, with its majestic columns and perfectly proportioned design, stands as a symbol of ancient Greece's devotion to their ideals of beauty and order. The building's columns, which curve ever so slightly, are a testament to the skill and understanding the Greeks had of both geometry and aesthetics. But the Romans, who came after the Greeks, took architecture to new heights, building vast roads, aqueducts and public baths that connected their empire. They mastered the art of the arch, which allowed them to build larger, more durable structures. One of their greatest feats was the Colosseum, a massive amphitheatre that could hold tens of thousands of spectators. It was a place for entertainment, where gladiators fought, but also a testament to Roman engineering and their love for grand spectacles. The Renaissance, a rebirth of classical ideals. After the fall of the Roman Empire, art took on a more varied path, with periods of religious dominance such as the medieval era. But as Europe moved into the 14th century, something remarkable happened: the Renaissance. This period saw a revival of classical Greek and Roman ideals, with artists returning to themes of humanism, proportion, and natural beauty. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael used the techniques of perspective, anatomy, and emotion to create lifelike works that not only depicted the human form in its beauty, but also explored its complexities. The Renaissance marks a turning point, where art began to emphasize individual expression and realism, setting the stage for modern art forms. Baroque and Rococo. Art and architecture. After the Renaissance, art and architecture entered two distinct yet captivating periods: Baroque and Rococo. Each offered its own unique expression of beauty, grandeur, and detail, which continue to inspire awe today. Baroque architecture is all about drama and movement. It was designed to impress and overwhelm, using bold lines and powerful imagery. Think of grand domes, towering columns, and sweeping facades that made buildings feel alive. One of the most iconic examples is St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, where Bernini used sweeping lines and soaring columns to guide worshippers toward the altar, creating a feeling of unity and divine presence. The Palace of Versailles in France, with its lavish gardens and mirrored halls, reflects Baroque's ability to mix art, power, and nature in a way that feels larger than life. In Baroque art, architecture was part of a grand narrative. It was about emotion. Structures had to make you feel something deep. Churches, palaces, and public spaces were meant to inspire, making you believe in the divine or the power of the ruler. Everything was designed to pull you into the experience, with grand staircases, vast halls, and windows letting in just the right amount of light. Then came Rococo, a style that softened the intensity of Baroque with its graceful curves, delicate ornamentation, and lighter color palettes. Pastel shades, wall moldings, and charming, intimate spaces. The Palace of Versailles shifted from its Baroque grandeur to embrace Rococo's playful elegance, adding softer elements to make the atmosphere feel lighter and more welcoming. The Amalienborg Palace in Munich is another great example, where delicate chandeliers and ornate mirrors create a sense of luxury without overwhelming the senses. Unlike Baroque's intense drama, Rococo art emphasized beauty in its lightest form. The architecture still had grandeur, but it was focused on comfort and pleasure, aiming to create an environment of luxury and joy. Every detail, whether in a ceiling fresco or a lavishly decorated room, was about making you feel at ease and entertained. Both Baroque and Rococo left behind architectural masterpieces that still tell stories of their times. Neoclassicism, the Age of Reason. Neoclassicism was a movement that came after the decorative Baroque and Rococo periods. It was inspired by the ancient Greeks and Romans, with an emphasis on simplicity, balance, and order. This new approach to art and architecture was strongly influenced by the ideals of the Enlightenment, a time when reason and logic were celebrated. Artists like Jacques-Louis David brought back themes from the past, focusing on heroic and moral stories. His paintings, like The Death of Socrates, highlighted the importance of virtue and sacrifice. In architecture, buildings like the US Capitol reflected clean lines, columns, and symmetrical designs inspired by the ancient world. Neoclassicism made art more serious and focused on messages of duty, honor, and reason. Romanticism, the power of emotion and nature. Romanticism was an art movement that began in the early 19th century, focusing on emotion, nature, and the individual. It was all about breaking away from logic and celebrating raw feelings and the power of nature. Artists like J.M.W. Turner and Caspar David Friedrich painted dramatic, beautiful landscapes, often showing nature as wild, untamable, and awe-inspiring. Romantic art wasn't just about nature. It also highlighted the heroic individual. Think of Eugène Delacroix's famous painting Liberty Leading the People, where freedom is portrayed as a passionate, powerful figure leading a revolution. Romanticism was all about feeling deeply, whether through stunning views of nature or intense human emotion. It made art about experience, not just what you saw. Impressionism, breaking the mold. Impressionism shook up the art world in the 1860s, with artists like Claude Monet, Edgar Degas, and Pierre-Auguste Renoir creating a new way of seeing the world. Instead of detailed, realistic depictions, they focused on capturing the feeling of a moment, how light changed throughout the day or how color shifted in different conditions. Monet's impression, sunrise became the movement's emblem, with soft, vibrant colors rather than sharp lines. Impressionists often painted everyday scenes, gardens, streets, and people enjoying life, emphasizing emotion and atmosphere over perfect detail. It was a new, fresh way to experience art, focusing on light, color, and movement rather than precise realism. Impressionism paved the way for modern art by breaking free from tradition and showing the world as artists truly saw it. Modernism, new perspectives on reality. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, art underwent a dramatic shift. Modernism broke away from traditional styles and embraced new ways of seeing the world. Artists like Picasso shattered forms with cubism, showing multiple perspectives at once. Surrealists led by Dali blended dreams and reality, creating bizarre, imaginative worlds that pushed the boundaries of the mind. Modernism was a bold, vibrant movement that changed art forever. It challenged everything about how we viewed the world. It rejected tradition and embraced change, seeking to reflect the rapidly changing society. Art became more abstract, fragmented, and experimental. Modern artists sought to capture perspectives and inner truths. Think of Mondrian's geometric grids, Picasso's disjointed portraits, or Van Gogh's expressive brushstrokes. Modernism wasn't just art. It was a revolution in how we think about creativity itself. Pop art. Art in the age of mass media. Pop art emerged in the 1950s and 1960s as a response to the rapid rise of consumerism, mass media, and popular culture. It was characterized by vibrant colors, bold imagery, and the incorporation of everyday objects and icons. Artists like Andy Warhol, Roy Lichtenstein, and Klaus Oldenburg used familiar images from advertisements, comic books, and consumer goods to challenge traditional notions of fine art and elevate the mundane to the level of art. Pop art was all about embracing popular culture, making art accessible and relatable to the masses. Warhol's Campbell's soup cans and Lichtenstein's comic-inspired works transformed ordinary subjects into iconic pieces, while also poking fun at the commercialization of art itself. Pop art's colourful, bold and graphic aesthetic quickly became influential in fashion, advertising and design, and its legacy continues to shape contemporary art today. Digital art, the new frontier. This period explores the evolution of art in the digital age, with a focus on how technology and digital tools have transformed creative expression. In the 1980s, computer graphics brought us into an exciting new world of abstract art, while the magic of CGI began to bring animated characters to life, giving them depth and emotion. As artists began to experiment with virtual and augmented reality, they created spaces where viewers could walk through and interact with the art, becoming a part of the story. It was as if art had come to life, inviting us to explore and dream in immersive environments. Then, with the rise of AI, we saw even more wonders unfold. Algorithms began creating beautiful, surreal works that pushed the boundaries of what we thought was possible in art. Now, digital art is limitless, ever-changing and full of wonder. It's a place where fantasy and reality blur, where technology and imagination meet to form a breathtaking new frontier. As the world of digital art continues to evolve, we are left wondering what wonders await in this ever-expanding enchanted realm. The future of art, a never-ending journey. As we stand on the cusp of a new era, the future of art feels like an infinite canvas waiting to be explored. With technology advancing faster than ever, creativity is no longer confined by physical tools or traditional methods. Imagine a world where AI can paint alongside human artists, where virtual reality lets us step into a masterpiece, or where augmented reality transforms ordinary spaces into galleries filled with dynamic, interactive art. Art in the future will be shaped by collaboration between humans and machines, between cultures and across generations. Artists will experiment with quantum computing, bioart, and even neural interfaces, creating works that connect directly with our emotions and thoughts. Sustainability will also play a key role, as creatives find ways to blend ecological responsibility with artistic expression. The beauty of art is that it never truly ends. It adapts, grows, and evolves. Just as humanity moves forward, so too will art, reflecting our dreams, fears, and hopes for the future. The Closing, a timeless journey. From the flickering firelight on ancient cave walls to the boundless frontiers of digital creation, art has been humanity's constant companion. It has told our stories, challenged our minds, and captured the essence of our existence. Each era we explore today, its sculptures, paintings, and buildings, reflects the creativity and the spirit of its time. And as we step into the future, we realize that art is not bound by walls, mediums, or tools. It's infinite, a canvas as vast as human imagination itself. So, what will the art of tomorrow look like? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. Art will always find a way to inspire, connect, and move us, no matter where the journey takes us next. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through time and creativity. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments, because your voice is part of this story too. Until next time, keep dreaming, creating, and exploring.